All right. Let me check my audio. Let's see. I have the video link here. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that thumbnail. And that should be good. I think we're all set here. You know what? I'll put the chat on this side. I think that makes more sense. Yeah, there we go. It'll do. Yes, hello. It is Iodrome. That was the one that I was planning for anyway, and then when I was looking at the votes on the episode, it was like 40 or something people were going for Iodrome, and I assume, like, just the one Iodrome comment had 40 likes on it, and there were many other people also asking for it, so that kind of worked out conveniently for me. See, I'm actually not planning to divert from bird wyverns for Iodrome, because the third one isn't supposed to be a different monster class. I guess it's supposed to be something of a last resort. Because the idea would be that it's part of the challenge to make it the same monster class 3 times. But if there's something that fits better for whatever reason, then or if, like, the last couple episodes that I've done is just like, I don't think there's a satisfying way to do this same concept a third time and feel distinct from my other designs and any other monsters in the series, then I'll switch to a different monster class. But with the drones in particular, I have sort of a precedent set that I'm going for. So, like, here, you know what? I'm actually gonna probably should have done this anyway. So let me go into my files real quick and pull. I'm gonna pull up the other designs I did for the other drones. Let's see. Not in here. Not in here either. Okay. Illustrations finished pieces. So yeah, let's grab the lost drum ones. Put those in there. And again, drum ones. Let's get those in. Just paste them all on this canvas, I guess. Oh, yeah, there's my, the working file I was doing for the thumbnail. So grab that guy. Oh. Oh my god, what resolution did I do this in? Oh my lord! I think this is a 4K canvas. What resolution did I do that in? Hold on. What's the resolution on this canvas I'm on right now? Yeah, I'm on a 4K canvas. This must have been painted on like 6K. Why did I do that? Whatever. Alright, let's get these over there. By the way, how's the volume? I guess nobody's complained about it, so I assume it's alright, but... I think I did actually see that in Japanese, the Ragi are froggy, which makes sense. They are very amphibian coded, not quite as amphibian coded as what's it called? Um, Iodrome. Good lord, that just completely disappeared from my lexicon for some reason. Let's put this down there. Man, I really want to revisit a bunch of these designs, but I'm not gonna go back and redo things. I don't have time. I have new episodes to produce. I cannot obsess over the old ones. I actually really like my A1 Velocidrome art. I just wish that my design and art skills had been stronger for the other two. I guess in a way, when I get to Geodrome, I'll basically get to revisit them because I do want to keep Geodrome and Velocidrome's similarity. I want to make them feel more distinct than they are, but I'm taking it as part of the challenge that they're going to be very, very similar. Okay, finally got to have these guys pasted in here. Let's put all the appropriate drones together. So, I mean, yeah. You can see that I did a bird wyvern for all three of the designs for both of these. Let's grab these and take them up into ref. That's where they go. Up we go. It's the top layer so we can see them. There we go. Because I felt like basically I think that being basically just a dinosaur and having that base to work off of without much else gives me a lot of options to try a lot of stuff with specifically bird wyverns. I don't think I really need to resort to another class if I can help it. Yeah, I'm just forgetting its name while designing it. Yeah, seems so. Hello, Tato Gato. Alright. It's been a long time since I streamed. Let's see how this goes. I think I want to shrink all of these. Because they should be reference. You know what? I think I am actually going to get rid of you guys. Because I don't need those in this document. But you should probably stay. And you should probably stay. Kill that one. And kill that one. So the warty toadlet skin is something I was debating, and I guess to catch people up on where I'm at with designing it. This is currently the sketch I'm working with that it's not fully finalized, but I think this is mostly the design I want to go for here. And so Iodrome's very, very limited lore has stuff about how it's so toxic that the toxin permeates its entire body, which is responsible for its durability, which isn't how that works, but okay, close enough, sure. Whatever. But I thought it might be interesting if it kind of, like that leathery skin that's full of poison almost looks like it's sloughing off, like it's being, like it's disintegrating from the inside out because of how toxic it is. But in a more literal sense, it's got just like thick leather that's layered over itself, a bit like a rhino, I guess, so that it's more armored. Then that can also give you a more visual indication of its durability. Because as it is right now, like I've heard a lot of people complain about Iodrome, it's just this stupid skinny raptor won't die because it does have a lot of health. They gave it more health than the others. But the fight is still nothing. So it can feel like kind of a time waster, and especially when it doesn't look like that, I think it feels even worse as a player to be like, I keep wailing on this like rail-thin little rat, and it refuses to drop dead. So I think that would help with it a bit. The sweating poison onto the ground, I wasn't thinking about that necessarily, although actually, I did talk about that for one of the other designs. I haven't finalized what I'm going to do for any of the other designs yet. But I did have some productive conversations about, actually, with Milo, who was talking a bit ago. I have some things that it could be dripping poison onto the ground, but not to this one yet, anyway. I did also actually think about turning the poison sac, or turning the crest into part of the poison sac. And I didn't end up going with that just because I wondered if that was maybe more change than I wanted to do for this one. And it's not like it would be a huge change. But I think that sounds like something that would fit better on one of the other two. Because this one, with the A1 designs, I'm just trying to spice them up with something new. And I think that Idrome, for me anyway, the problem with it is that it looks unfinished. Like, it's supposed to be kind of ugly and nasty. I get that. But it just looks stupid. So I want it to feel a little more cohesive and, like, finished. I do actually like the idea of the sound resonance, though, and that might be what it's for anyway. The only other real lore about the crest that it gets is that it might help to deal with the heat because they live in subtropical regions, so they got a lot of humidity. But Geezer was talking about, like, I don't know how reliable that is. Maybe you take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. Or somebody was talking about it. Maybe that wasn't. Oh, that might have been Bandino's quote on it. I'm not totally certain. Somebody was telling me that it's not the most reliable thing in the world. But that's at least an in-universe proposed thing, is that it's a thermoregulatory thing. I don't see why it couldn't be both that and a what's the word I'm looking for? Resonating chamber. See, part of the reason I didn't do fake back fin like a newt is because I did it on Velocitron. Alright, so I want to actually get out of here. Go into the sketch layer. Get a new one. So this is the ideation. I'll take that, sketch. Cool, put that up top. Alright, so let's see. Do I like this color for drawing in? Yeah, that's a nice color for drawing in. I'm happy with that. I don't like that brush. What happened to my old brush? Why does this one look stupid? Ooh, I think this is the one I like. Hello? There we go. Yeah, that's the nice one. I like that one. Interesting. Great Cranadath. Hold on. Let's actually... Wouldn't be a bad idea to have Cranadath in here as a reference. Let's see. There's surprisingly few good images of this thing. There we go. Let's put that up there. I see it. I definitely see what you mean. Yeah, it does kind of look like a Cranadath. Well, we'll put that over there as a reference so that we don't, hopefully, mimic it too closely. Alright, let's... Okay, I need to do some actual work here for a second. So, part of my issue with this current design is that I think it's a little too bumpy looking, and I still want to keep that amphibian smoothness to it. But I do, yeah, I'd like to find a balance between the wattle skin that looks like it's melting off of it and the smoothness. Yeah, I guess I kind of already said that. Let's see if I can replicate my own drawing. That's not always something I've been bad at. You know what? I should probably push these guys off a little bit so they're not taking up quite so much canvas. That's a good idea. That helps. So let's get the crest blocked in here. I think I can help it feel maybe a little less Cranadathy if I give it less of a strong forward tilt, and I have it pointed more backwards overall, which I think I like. Oops, we're in the wrong layer. Get all that. Let's try that again. You know what? I think we can also boost up the size of this bulb. There we are. And then one thing I did like was having this like notch in the head, because that is an interesting part of iDrum's design that I definitely want to keep, is that underbite it's got. So I want to maybe emphasize it so it looks a little more powerful as well. So I can do that if I make... that's bothering me. Get rid of that. If I make the skull notch up here, and then I give it a stronger shell on its lower jaw, so it has that stronger underbite. It's not the right angle. That's not how that goes. That's better. Don't need this big an eraser. There is one thing, if Clip Studio doesn't have it, and maybe it does and I just haven't noticed, one thing I did really wish it had was the ability to switch to the transparent brush. So I don't know, is it on stream? Yeah, you can just see it on the, just to the left of chat a bit. You can see that I can switch between the two like colors I have picked at any time just by pressing X. I don't think there's a way to get to that transparency brush right underneath it, but it basically just turns whatever brush you're working with into an eraser. I really like that, especially when I need to erase something with a certain like texture that isn't a brush that I really like, but I don't think there's a convenient way to do it. I think you can set up custom commands in Clip Studio. Should probably just learn how to do that. It's probably good for my workflow to understand my programs better anyway. So give it that big old jaw. There we go. Get him his little needle teeth in there. Because I think somebody mentioned it a bit ago. I don't remember who. I think that might have been Rugops. Talked about the lore with iDrum being an insect eater. And as far as I'm aware, there is nothing new contradicting that. That seems to still be basically how they work. They spit poison on bugs, and supposedly their poison is specifically effective against them. But basically the only other lore point they have, I've talked about everything that they say about them, basically. One of the only other things they have is that the poison also works on flying wyverns, which I assume is supposed to be impressive, but being a Gen 1 monster, it kind of loses its meaning over time. Alright, let's see. Oh, boy, okay, people are really active in here. Oh, I'm going to try and catch up with chat here. Yeah, the interesting, a lot of health for the loose skin. That's what I'm going for. That's from Phoenix. I was imagining an update. Wrinkly skin like a giant salamander. I guess actually, you know what? Giant salamander might be a better reference. I had Titicaca frogs mentioned to me, but giant salamander is more what I'm looking for. Let's see. There's a really good picture of specifically what I'm looking for. Somewhere, if I can find it. Ooh, that's kind of good. Grab that. And I guess in combination with this image, that should work very nicely. both of you go in the ref folder where you belong. There we go. There, hiding up here. Let's see. Grab this. Shrink that down. Oops. A little bigger. Over there. And I only really want that image, so let's just put it behind. There we go. This is a nice way to reference those smooth, slimy wrinkles. I like that better. That should work pretty good. That'll help. Parrotfish is making the cocoons. Are you proposing that Iodrome should just coat itself in poison to sleep? I don't hate that. It's kind of fun. Divine scales, Iodrome eats Slagtoth now. I mean, that makes sense. Dalamadude. So basically what's happening here is I'm doing art for the next episode of Monster Mender, and I'm also I have an announcement up in the top left there. I've just opened memberships. That's a thing that exists. I have an explanation of what they do. But otherwise, I'm doing a stream of the next episode. In the future, I'll probably restrict these Monster Mender streams to members to incentivize people to do that, because I do want to grow and eventually make a living off of YouTube. I'm sure that's not going to happen anytime soon, but, you got to start somewhere. What are you talking about, Milo? What the fuck? Piscean Wyvern Iodrome actually would be pretty fun. Thank you, double digit Dragonfly, for the Kezu compliments. Kezu compliments. Compliments with a KH. That, I don't hate that. That kind of makes sense if they're killing a lot of crabs too. Because I don't think Iodrome has really gotten any new lore since the first game. You know what? No, I think it's had lore that was new to it in Freedom Unite, I believe. But I think that was the last time it actually got anything new, and every time they put it in a game after that, they just rehash the same stuff they've been saying. And so, who is it that mentioned the headbutting? I actually don't mind that. That's a good idea. Okay, that's Rugobs. I think I might... I don't know if I'm gonna go all in on headbutting. It's actually because I was thinking about headbutting for one of the other versions. But I think you're right that maybe should make that more overall axe-like in general. So how's the front of it? The front of it is like a big, smooth lobe. So, yeah, maybe it is worn down by something. No, that's a little too phallic. Let's not make it look like a bell end again. It's the Kezu. I was going to say leaking out of me. I really think that would have been a poor choice of words, although I suppose fitting for the monster I was talking of. Fitting. God damn it. There's just no escaping it. This is how it is with Kezu. The too long, no, too hard bit in the video was partially, obviously I wrote it, but it came from, I was trying to write a sentence and went, oh, wait, that's kind of like a penis joke, haha, that's funny. And then I don't think I really want that there. And so then I changed it, and oh, that's also another penis joke, damn it. And I kept going back, and it actually took me a minute to find one that wasn't, phallic sounding. What's my delay at? It actually seems like it's a pretty significant delay. I wonder. Oh, that's why my. Okay, that's strange. How much delay do I have? Let me just wiggle that. Okay, it's like what 20 seconds? I think 20 seconds delay. It's probably about right. Yeah. Okay. My preview on my YouTube like stream thing that I have to like check up on it was just behind for whatever reason. I was just like, oh my god, why is a stream 5 minutes behind? But it isn't. What do I think of making the front more pointy? I think that does add a lot in the. Yeah, I think that's good. I think I do like that. Let's rework that shape a little bit, though. I am in the wrong layer again. It's fine. I wanted to redo most of that part anyway. What's this? That's you. Okay, you need to go in there. So let's say, you know what? Actually, in general, I think the bump needs to be bigger. 'Cause on Iodrome, it's like basically the size of the rest of his head. Just that lump is. So let's exaggerate that more. That gives me a lot more room to play around. Oh, actually, one thing I did want to mention, just because I thought it was interesting. I've been primarily, although I'm going to be putting in more giant salamander now. Thank you for that suggestion. I've been basing the texture of the skin on like the breeding colors that turkeys will get. Because I thought that, oh, it kind of does look like it's like rotting away from the inside. It's like melting. Its flesh is peeling off. So I thought that made a good reference for Iodrum. I think the double digit dragonfly, there is a salamander. Like, I think the giant salamander, I mean, it's not like it's the same color scheme, but it's the very similar pattern to Iodrum. It's not you. It's one of the other giant salamanders, but does actually kind of have Iodrum's color pattern. You know what? I bet you it's the Japanese giant salamander, because that's going to be the one that Capcom creators know about. Japanese giant salamander. Because that might be the Chinese. I'm not sure. I didn't check. Yeah, you know what? That is Iodrum. I guess I don't think I need this one as reference as much. But, oops. What's the hotkey for this? How do I get here? Is there no hotkey? There is no hotkey for that. That sucks. Okay. But yeah, like, it's not the same. It's not nearly as red. But yeah, this kind of very similar blotchiness to it. I think it's actually very possible that Iodrum is at least partially based on that. You know what? Maybe we will keep that in the ref. Gotta shrink that way down, though. All my homies hate high-resolution images. That's why we record our time lapses in 720p. That's a joke. I don't have a choice. The way Clip Studio works, it only records in 720p is the highest resolution that I can record these time lapses in that the video has. Actually, I'll show you this. Oh no, you know what? It won't show up because it'll be in a different window, and I don't feel like messing with it, so forget it. But Clip Studio does have a built-in time lapse button, and I actually have it turned on by default because I've almost forgotten about it a lot. I think there was a Monster Mender episode where I talk about the fact that you join in partway through because I'd forgotten to turn the time lapse on. I think that was Basarios. Yeah, Dragonfly. I think you are right that there's probably some salamander that it's more closely based on in terms of the actual color, because I know that lots of salamanders are toxic, so they'll have the aposematic coloring. But the pattern is very similar to the giant salamander, which again would make sense because they do specifically mention that Iodrum has amphibian-like skin. Okay. Do I like that? I think I will go for a bit more point on it. You know what? I might like actually. Let's try this. It's got like a each plate's got kind of an overhang, so they almost zip together. That doesn't sound quite. I don't think that's quite the word I'm looking for. But if they just like have an overhang there. Let's push that out a little more. There we are. And oh, you know what I should be doing? Actually, that I meant to do. I was going to take screenshots of suggestions that I actually take on. Hold on, where did that go? It's a rats. Do not see the comment that I really liked now. Balls. That's unfortunate. Yeah, okay. Damn, I've completely lost the comment I was looking for. Too bad. I think I did like this smooth, like worn look along the top of it though. So let's get that. I think I want that a little more hooked. Because we can say that maybe the crest also will help it pry the shells off of big things like Ceanataur. Speaking of eating Ceanataur, I could be like UHC and say that everything all the time is supported by hordes of Ceanataur babies, which I guess I actually don't even mind as a proposal. It's just funny how often it comes up in his videos. It's like, I don't know, what does it eat? Probably Ceanataur. There's a bunch of them and they're everywhere. I don't know what else it needs these strong jaws for. Because he does make an interesting point that, like, a crab that big is probably having, like, I think they've also talked about the babies being like the size of regular hermit crabs. Maybe that was something he made up. Either way, these are animals who are like spitting out probably millions of babies per year. So there is a lot of food if you know how to eat it. So I can't blame him for especially when you're trying to interpret the Monster Hunter world to be as natural as possible. That's a pretty reasonable assumption. I guess I'd be interested, actually, in hearing what the spawning of the Christmas Island crabs would be like on those islands. I don't actually know what kind of impacts it has, but I bet you it does support a significant portion of the ecosystem there. Especially because there's, yeah, I mean, they must, because there's, like, God, there must be billions, more than millions, surely, that are crawling up and down that island every time that they spawn. And then, of course, there's even more babies that crawl out of the water. Just not quite satisfied with this horn shape. I feel like I'm almost there. There we go. I think I got it. I think I got it. You know what? Part of it actually is I think my perspective is screwed up. That might be why. Oh. That version's tail got cut off. I wonder when that happened. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, there we go. I think my perspective was indeed off. But I want it to be pointed more back, so I might... Let's see. How does the actual one look? Yeah, because it's kind of pointed down there. So take this portion. Make that like parallel with the head, with the skull. And then just take this back bit here. Have that hanging down. And this could be high, like over here. I think I like that. Let's see how that looks with the connective stuff. I think that, okay, that's a little taller than I want to go for. So let's put that down. Let's see. How's that? Not quite, but I think we're getting there. Let's see. How's that? Let me just make that pick bit smaller. Yeah, there we go. I think I do like it when it's less exaggerated. I think that helps. I think I'm happy with that. And then, how do those eyes go? I actually think the eyes are kind of interesting. I think one thing that'll also help make it feel maybe a bit more ferocious is if I give it bigger... I guess plates isn't quite the right word, but it's you can see how Iadrome's eye is like inset into its head armor. And it does kind of have significant head armor, now that you mention it. Maybe it should be headbutting things. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind going forward. But anyway, the eye is inset into its head armor, and I think we can make it look more ferocious and more armored if we lean into that so that it looks tougher. Let's see here. Let's change the shape of that a little bit. Ooh, yeah, we can kind of give it like an indication of like an angry brow with this top plate here. We can have this kind of middle one getting squashed a little bit to give us a more dramatic shape. Here, let's get the shape of the armor part before we try to fit in the eyeball. I think that feels like it adds a lot, just that bit there. Here, let's see if I can make that work with the armor shape a little better. If we put the eye in here. I quite like that. I think that adds a nice sense of ferocity there, especially when we give it a little bit of separation between the armor plate and the eyeball itself. I think that gives us, I think again, just a better impression of it being armored, which helps in this situation, I think. Okay, so you should be like here. And this one should actually be further down. There we are. There we are. You know, and if I give it that sharp upward... Nope. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Now I have to hope that that color is going to be the same again when I color pick it. Let's see. Yeah, that's good enough. That'll do. Ba-da, 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 ba. So this should actually be more that shape, I think. Oh my god, I love this one. Which game is this from? It just says Tower Theme. Which game is this? Is this the original? It might be the original Tower. I'm not sure. I love that one. Okay. I see there have been messages since I last looked at chat. I will need to go back and look at those. Just when I finish this one bit. When I do that on there, yeah, I liked that. that might be part of it, is that this bulb should have this attachment point. There we are. There we go. I think I'm a little more satisfied with that. I think I can leave that for a second to look at my chat. Just kidding. I need to fix the shape of the crest again. You can see why these videos take so long to come out, because I'm very, very nitpicky and annoying about things. I don't hate that. Alright, let's look at my chat. Oh man, this is like a bit of it. Alright, here we go. Can we just bull dressing each other in worlds? Yeah. Oh, yeah, so I was talking about the feet. Okay, I will talk about that momentarily. How does the sketching process normally take? A long time. I spend kind of an unreasonable amount of time wheedling about things. It is something that I'm sure will improve as I become more confident and more skilled. But yeah, this usually takes a long, long, long time. It can usually be a lot faster once I get to the rendering phase, but I am very concerned with getting as much as I can as right as possible from the beginning. I just realized that I actually totally mimicked the pose of this guy without really meaning to. But I don't think I will have this be in the final pose. I think once I have this design locked down, I'll do another sketch with a pose and then do lines over that one. So let's move this over here. Let's figure out what to do with the body in a minute here. Let's see. Okay. Anyway, going back to reading my chat, the idea is his head and axe. Do you think? As reduce visual spawn. Out of curiosity, do you think Idrome has reduced vision with its small eyes and preference for dark caves and volcanoes? I would actually bet that it has pretty good, and compared to the size of its head, its eyes are fairly large. It's not like they're huge, but they're reasonably sized eyes. And from what it sounds like, they do at least seem to be insectivores in their lore. I guess they didn't want to include an animation for them trying to aim at an, what's it called? A Vespoid to knock it out of the air, because I don't, especially old games, I don't think just could have handled the calculations that would have taken with how long the wind-up for their animations are and how much Vespoid can move. It just wouldn't have been a reliable way for them to get stamina back. But I would bet that if their primary prey is still bugs, if that's still the canon, then they're probably pretty good at seeing. You got to have pretty sharp aim to hit those fast-flying bugs. interpret Mr. F1504. I'm interpreting the bulb as a solid structure. It does seem to be solid. Um, what I'm imagining it's like a lot like is like the cask of a hornbill like this, where it's not quite bone. I mean, sometimes it is bone. Like this, like that's. I think that is just bone. Although the beak tissue is still there, so that, yeah, I think that is with the keratin sheath still. But we can actually see in some hornbill skulls. I don't believe I picked any of them for reference here. No, that the cask is mostly air, and it's got sort of a webbing of bone running through it to give it structure. So it's not like a pachycephalosaur dome where it can use it to like obliterate other things' bones with it. But I think it is solid. You're not hearing any music. Are you guys still not hearing music, by the way? I can turn that up if you need it. Team Orange Eye Drum or Red Eye Drum? I think it's supposed to be red, especially given that the stories model or the texture is distinctly red. I think they want it to be red. Which kind of makes sense, I guess, because they're literally red, green, blue, the RGB. So that would track. Thank you, maybe a person, 594. Thank you, Axis Jack. You're not hearing any music at all. All right. Let's see. Is my OBS? Yeah, it's just really quiet on my OBS. Let's try. Oh, lost someone. That seems like a reasonable volume. Let me know how the music is. Now that should be good. Hello and thank you to everybody who's showed up and been giving support as well. There we go. You know what? I don't need to worry about posing because this is not going to be the final. Let's just get a decent neck and shape in there so I can show off the rest of the anatomy. Why is Brachiosaurus in this playlist? It's supposed to be my, like, Speedy Monster playlist, whatever. It's a little quiet still. Let's try that. How's the volume compared to everything else now? Are you guys just hearing basement noises otherwise? I love basement noises. It's my favorite kind of noise. I think these ideation sketches are going to have to go down here. Put them over here. I'm not going to get cut off or anything, right? If I do this, right, that still goes off screen. Yeah. Okay. Let's take the sketch then, get the sketch out here. There we are. Put that a little further just so I can see what I did with the body on the previous one. Okay. Here's everything else is very quiet. Okay. So is the audio good, or does the music still need a little bit of boost? Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Is Geezer in stream watching me and criticizing? I think he is. He's a little tad louder. Okay. I'll give it a little bit. So I think I'll leave it there. But Geezer actually just sent me an interesting idea for the possible function of the crest with the Assassin's Teapot. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but basically it is a teapot with 2 different chambers in it, and depending on how much or how little you tilt the teapot, it'll pour a different substance, or it'll, realistically, I think you want it to mix the substances so that you can't tell that it's poison. But there'd be a chamber of poison and a chamber of completely normal tea. So you pour the tea for yourself, and that one you have it tilted in such a way so that it only pours the regular tea, and then you pour it for whoever you're planning to assassinate. You can tip it more so that that second chamber will mix the poison in and hopefully kill them. That is a good idea. I think I like that. I think I like that a lot. Yeah, I think I might use that. So, maybe if I did that Assassin's Teapot thing, obviously it doesn't need to spit anything aside from liquid death. But, not the water brand, mind you. Maybe it can switch between 2 distinctly different types of poison for launching versus... Or like a more viscous poison it can use to like spit at distance, and a more like watery poison that it uses at close range or something. That might be fun. I think there is something in the lore, if I'm remembering right, about its poison being particularly viscous so that it can spit at long distances at bugs. So that would be kind of cool. Evolution on that. I want to keep the body relatively short, because well, relatively short. So where do the hips go, right about? No, hips should go about here. And the shoulder comes down to here. Let me get, no, actually I'm going to leave that because they're better examples that way. And then tail can be off doing whatever. We're not going to worry about the tail right now. And I noticed that the drones actually have really, really long thighs, which I did not really reflect in my other designs. But I think I can do more of it. Because I mean, I made them more muscular, and I think that was a good decision. But maybe because there is a theme of physical deterioration in Iodrome, that it might be nice, yeah, if it does look more like lanky and it's defended by that skin more so than its beefier body. Oh, that reminds me of a thing that somebody else was mentioning about the feet. So, I think I partially mentioned it before, but I'm basing a lot of the texturing on turkeys so that they kind of look like they're sloughing off, because one of the only lore bits they have is about the poison in their bodies improving their constitution. Sure, I think that's dumb, but it's a common theme, especially it seems like in Gen 1 poison monsters, so fine. And I think that having bigger extremities, or extremities that take up more space, will help it look significantly stronger without having to change the actual proportions all that much. So that's what I was doing with these like wacky feet over here. Yeah, maybe I should have a bit more of a gut. Not like a big beer belly or anything. Although, something that's processing its own poison all the time, that might not be a bad idea. So let's give it a little bit of a gut, and I can just make that pelvis kind of long, and make the tail really thin to sell that. I like that. That looks. I think I'm all right with that proportioning. Just figure out more exactly where that knee is going to be. So how far down does the knee go? The knee goes... The thigh is like almost twice as thick as the body there. I'm going to tone that down a little bit. But I can push that a little further. Yeah, there we go. That'll do. And they have actually relatively short feet. It's their thighs and shins that are pretty long. There we are. That's alright. I think I'll make that chest shape a little different here. Just bigger shoulders. More rounded shoulders anyway. So kind of like a caved in chest there, and then shoulders. Slope that in the middle. Then wider over the hips, where there's going to be more of that thick skin. There we are. Do that. Oh, archerfish eye drum. I don't mind that at all. That's a pretty good idea. Okay, Geezer is in the stream. Yeah, he's talking to me. That's funny. Okay, nothing about viscosity. It did involve Fran insects, yeah. So yeah, I do want to make these arms really thin and pathetic looking. Should be borderline non-functional. Let's get the hand length down. And you know what? We can sort of kind of artificially bulk up the shoulders here if we put a lot of that skin up here, so we can have a big lump of it. Skin there. Let's give that a bit more of a patagium, I think. not sure if patagium is the right word for that specific region. Have an extra skin there. I think it is, because I think a patagium is just kind of the flap of somewhat loose skin. Connecting, specifically, I think connecting flap anywhere, I think that's patagium. Because I know it's called a patagium on bats and flying squirrels. The part that a flying squirrel flies with is the patagium. I think they might call it the same thing on bats. Patagium is... I think I usually hear patagium for bats in reference to the tail, which insect-eating bats use their tails as kind of like scoops to net insects out of the air and then shove them into their mouths. They do, like... What's the... I guess they do crunches in order to eat. There's a little bit of kind of the energy I'm missing from this guy. What's different here? Give him a... Okay, I've made that throat sac bigger and more stuff down at the bottom of the neck. Oops, am I in the wrong layer? No. Okay. That's kind of fun. You know what I'll also do? Actually, I think I can handle that with the proper posing. This is supposed to be relatively neutral pose, so let's do that. That'll work. So then, give ourselves a big ol' fold around there. Gypsyros theming. Or I think this is technically the Gen 1 swamp theme, which Gypsyros uses, obviously, being a Gen 1 swamp monster. But I guess I would assume this is the theme that plays when you fight Iadrum in Gen 1 too. Because Iadrum... The Volcanos in the first game. Yeah, it has to be, because Gravios is there. But... Is Iadrum in the Volcano in Gen 1? I assume it is. I know it's in the swamps. There we are. Have that. And let's add those, like, spine ridges back. I don't think I want them to actually be protruding vertebra. I just want that to be kind of where the wrinkles of skin are anchored. So maybe I can lower them, make them a little smoother. Fold-shaped. There we are. Head's too small. That's a big part of it, actually. The head needs to be way bigger. Maybe I don't make the whole neck bigger. No, I think I make the whole neck bigger. Diadrum should have a big old noggin on him. There we go. Bring that throat sac a little further up. Diadrum's finally here, performing for you. If you know the words, you can join in too. Hawk to poison spit. I regret nothing. All right, let's see. Any sort of membrane that helps an animal obtain lift regardless if it glides or flies. Okay, potassium is specifically for flight. Okay. Monkey. Have you guys seen that video of the dude? I think he's just getting pranked by his friends. He's just coming through the door and they chuck a stuffed monkey at him and he just collapses. I love that video. Monkey. Monkey. Yeah, I think that looks good there. Rushing again? I think that was the... Did we loop back around already? Stream's been going for an hour. Yeah, maybe we did loop back around. Let me see. Oh, no. Okay, we must have just had, Why was... Ah, there it is. Okay, I did have an orchestral of, Rajang. Alright, that makes sense. Bottom jaw isn't big enough. I think that's been part of what's bugging me. So connect here, go up to here, come down closer to here, I think. I think that's right. Because the jaw is here. Mandible, I think. Remember my bones, which I usually don't. Not very good with bones. Not remembering them anyway. I think, okay, so I made the slope upward less sharp here. The jaw attachment should be back there. So it should be about here that it gets to its peak. Curve here. Grab some screenshots here. Does the screen door come up when I do that? I bet it does. I'm grabbing screenshot. I'm trying to remember to grab screenshots of ideas I liked. My snipping tool feels like cooperating with me. Hello? There we go. Let's see, put that in there. There we go. I have that one saved at least, so when I inevitably forget about all the ones on the live stream, I remember that one at least. Hawk 2 in the Big 26, yeah. Difficult monkey, instant death. Oh, the gorilla on the space station. That is a good one. Yeah, I've only seen a little bit. I think that it's very possible that Espinas eats a lot of Aya prey, because their ranges would theoretically overlap, right? I guess that'd be a good thing to check. I wonder if Iadrum spawns in the same regions as Espinas in Frontier. There we are. I think that's a bit better. Make that whole thing a bit more rounded. Happy with that. Take this. I do want to strike a balance of pathetic physicality with durability. Like I want to strike some kind of balance between the durability and the wretchedness of its form. So I still want that neck to be pretty gangly. Gangle, amazing digital circus, apparently. Yeah, amazing digital circus, which I am finally going to actually watch, probably today, actually. Depending on how long this takes and how long I feel like streaming it for. I mean, I'm for sure going to be here for at least another hour. And I'll probably do some work off-stream after I watch the show. Make myself some breakfast in a little bit here. Yeah, no, that's just too much. I think that was my issue with the previous one, is that much ridge is just too much. I think I need to figure out a better way to smooth that down. What about the right length between shoulder? I think the trunk ought to be just a smidge shorter. I think that's better. Yeah, I feel like that helps. How long are the drums' bodies? Let's see if we can get a better picture of Iadrum from the side. Because I think they do kind of have long torsos, don't they? Eh. Longer than that, I suppose. How exactly do I want to do that? Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should. You know what I think I'll actually do? Is maybe I will shrink the chest back down. I feel reasonably satisfied with that proportion, actually. I think that might be the way to go. And that gives me a little more room to give it some belly for processing all that chitin and poison inside of its body, and I think that's a play I'm happy with. Oh yeah, it's Duramadyra now, apparently. Cool. Man, this is a really old playlist. I haven't listened to really any of the like monster exclusive Frontier themes in a very long time. I do have their area themes in my playlist more often, especially because I think those ones are the most useful for Monster Mender episodes as background music. So I'm pretty sure I've used a couple Frontier area tracks before. I feel reasonably confident that I have. Let's get that spine poking out. Turn that way down. Put him right there. I can see him just enough. There we are. I think I did like having those backward facing lumps, but I'm gonna tone them down. I am still in the wrong layer. There we are. Yeah, just little itty bitty lumps. There we go. Bit of belly, just a little bit. Don't want it to be completely scrawny, just mostly scrawny. Some big lumps there to work with, and then some folding. That body's more flexible. Let's actually hike this part up a little bit. Give us a little more contrast on the body if the underbelly is more visible on a greater part of the animal. So let's have it like come like this shape. And the arm. Here, lead up here, like that. Shape a little more. I think I do. Yeah, a little less regal in the neck. What do you think I want? I want just a little bit of majesty and a lot more Nasty. King of the sewers, this guy. Not literally, I suppose, but good enough. You know what, though? I think it's actually time for a hydration break. I will come back and read some chat, but I'm going to go get some water. And I suggest that you all do too. I'll be back in, like, I don't know, 2 minutes, something like that. Take a minute. See, I don't know why I went down here. I don't think I do. Oh, I do. There it is. Alright. I emptied out the jug of water. I wanted to make sure I did it right and didn't spill water all over the floor. I think we're good now. Alrighty. Where's my headphones? There they are. Transformers like the love child of the Christmas tree. What are you talking about? That's kind of funny. My stream preview is so far behind, I'm still talking on it. Okay, go back. Let's see. So, I don't know what I'm going to do with Fatalis, because Fatalis is so lore important, and I do want to include the real-life inspiration, as much of the monster's lore as I can into these videos. I don't think, and especially with how important Fatalis is to the series, I don't think I'm at the level where I can currently do it the justice it deserves. So I'm probably not going to do Fatalis at the end of Gen 1, actually. I'll probably save it. I might save it all the way until Iceborne, because I feel like if my skills haven't improved enough to tackle it by then, my ego will have. So, well, that's the current thought on Fatalis. Just a more generic dragon. You mean Safi Jiva? I'm really mad about Safi Jiva. Like, yeah, he looks cool, but Xeno Jiva is so unique looking, and it's just all gone in Safi. It's so disappointing. I'm sure there's lots of stuff we could say about it being important or whatever, but man. And as far as making Safi, or excuse me, doing something new with Fatalis, I mean, it's the fantasy dragon, but it's not like cultures in China and Japan and all throughout Asia haven't had, like, fantasy before. I could just do something closer to a lung dragon, as people will call it. I think lung just means dragon in, like, Chinese. I think it is. I think that's right. So I can just do, like, a long ropey guy. That could be a thing for Fatalis. Or I could do some of the, like, really weird manuscripts that, like, bestiaries that were produced in the Dark Ages, Middle Ages, whatever age, I don't really know or care. Where they're more obviously amalgamants of just various elements of other animals as they're described. Like, if you look at some of the oldest art of wyverns in existence, it looks nothing like what modern fantasy wyverns look like at all. Side game monsters. I'm not gonna add to the Monster Mentor queue because I already have to go through like 200 in the normal series. Something like that. It's cut down a bit by subspecies, so I'm planning to handle it a different way and variants and all that. But there's at least like 100 fully distinct monsters. I'm sure more than that, because plenty of them don't have subspecies. And some have a bunch, but whatever. So, Frontier is something I'd like to address, maybe. But I'd probably make that like a special episode of some variety. Or, I don't know, like a holiday thing. Christmas gift, as I do voted for Frontier design, maybe. I just leave that totally up to the community which one I do. That might be something. Small monsters is another thing that I had plans for, and actually, you know what? Let's save. And I'll actually show you. I was planning to work on small monsters for each generation. I don't think that's a good idea in retrospect. That's just a lot of stuff. And I think I might end up skipping on the small monsters, but I did have at least kind of a loose plan. So, and it would kind of change from what I was doing before. Because I started on Aptonoth, actually. And that was what I was streaming a while ago. But with how long these episodes take to make, especially when it is a more complex monster, which I imagine I'm getting more and more of as I get to the end of a generation, I don't know how doable it is. I've had it mentioned to me before that I could get other artists collaborating with me. I don't think I have the reach for that right now, but that would be something that I would be very interested in doing as a way of handling that. But what I was going to do is I was essentially just going to have a grid where I could put all my designs for the small monsters, and they'd just be like quick, loose ones at a pretty small scale, so I wouldn't have the opportunity to really needle over them like I would with everything else. Which maybe is a little bit of a disservice to the small monsters, but like there's only so much I can do. There's a lot of them. There's so many monsters in general. Alright, let's see. Where's my... Okay, it's not in this folder. It's in here. Not in here, unless it is. Ah, here we are. Yeah, I was working on Aptonoth, like, a long, long time ago. I have those files opening right now. I mean, the Frontier monsters who are in Mainline are gonna be in videos, because they're, like, officially, definitively canon. Like, they're gonna be part of the series. They're in the games that I'm analyzing. They for sure count. Online monsters too. Online, yes, gonna be in the same boat. It's just like there's too much. I'm probably not gonna cover anything in Outlanders. I don't think I care about Outlanders. Lavasia, then yeah, series. That's a Nergigante. I like Nergigante overall, but he's a little dumb. I think he's one that I'm actually excited to get to, because I think he's 90% of the way to perfect, and there's just a couple things on him that I think could be potentially a little more sensible. The horns are a thing I was talking about in the Discord server a while ago. I think the horns look really stupid. They're so goofy. They're enormous, and they do not fit on his head. I do wonder what the point of making them blunt was, because they don't have a sharp point on them. And I'm sure that says something about Nergigante probably like wearing them out on other dragons or something, but they just look a little goofy with how enormous they are. Ukanlos, yeah, Ukanlos could be cool as a giant secret. Oh, why is... Oh, no, that's just my stream being weird. Okay. Or my preview. But yeah, this was the one of the Aptonoths I was working on. You can see that this was in the color scheme when I was still working on green paper with pink lines. Yeah, this is actually kind of inspired by Keenan Taylor in particular. He gives his hadrosaurs like antler things on Chimera, and I think that's kind of interesting. So I thought that'd be a cool thing to do, is especially because it's kind of the quote unquote deer of the franchise. It's the common helpless prey item. It would be kind of interesting to have it act a bit more like a deer or a moose. So yeah, I was giving it that. And then the first one, I mean, I did Aptonoth. I just wanted to make it look faster, because it's apparently part of Aptonoth lore is that they're reasonably quick. Like, they move well, but in-game we don't really see that, and their designs certainly don't look like they move at any appreciable speed. So I just made one that was a bit leaner. Hopefully looks like it could move a little faster. That was all I was really trying to do with this one. And you can see I got pretty far with it, but I was going to make it all part of one video, and that's just a lot of work. That was a long time ago, too. I also agree that Herbivore should be able to fight back, but I also understand that, like, as a game mechanic, it doesn't work super well, especially when the monsters need to use them as stamina packs, effectively. Like, I can live with it. The compromise I would hope for is to get more large herbivorous monsters, or even to get, like, large monsters in the Herbivore class. I think that'd be really cool. Or potentially use the herbivore class as a specific, like maybe herbivores only refer to specifically stuff like Aptonoth, and then we move stuff like Popo into Fang Beasts and things like that, and then we can get large herbivore monsters now that we have, and once we have a large one, we can kind of justify reclassifying the others as being outside of the wastebasket taxon and put into an actual phylogenetic group. Oh, you know what? I forgot his nostrils. Let's give our boy some nostrils. He needs to be able to smell. Oh, did you ask about Nergigante because the theme was playing? I actually didn't notice until just now that it was playing. Did that just come on? I don't mind herbivore being in class, because I think it's actually a perfectly fine name if we're putting, like, Larinoth and Aptonoth in it. Popo being in it is weird, because they're so clearly Fang Beasts, and you can make the argument that, like, things like have fur or feathers outside of their usual class all the time, so the integument isn't necessarily indicative of them being actually mammals, but, like, come on. Come on. Come on! Drink some more water. Especially with their partnership with Gammoth, it just makes them feel even more like Fang Beasts, even though you don't necessarily need to be related for collaborative child rearing. But yeah, it just makes it seem like they should be. But like, I think I really want to fight a Larinoth. Like, actually fight one. That would be so sick. Like, they've got a really cool gimmick. Larinoth have enough where if you just gave them a higher health and attacks, that's a pretty solid monster. Like, it's got a neat gimmick with the pores in its body, making noise as it swings, like a bunch of, like, blowing air over bottles. That's pretty cool. It could turn that into a sonic attack, where it could roar at you and do damage or stun or something. And they're so enormous. It's so strange to me that they have less health than Velocidrome in the games. I assume that's a gameplay thing. You can argue there's lore stuff with Ki and, like, monsters that fight things grow more powerful and, like, are more full of bioenergy and whatever. And that's fine, that's probably official lore. I just think it's a little goofy, but fine. It's whatever. But, like, I wanna fight one. They're cool. They're really sick. Is that, like, official stuff that you're talking about with the Popo being Fang Beasts? Or is that just, like, what's reasonable? Because, like, yeah, obviously, Popo appear to be Fang Beasts. And Kestodon, I thought Kestodon actually were in Brute Wyvern. Are they herbivores, too? Oh, they are herbivore. Okay, yeah, I actually thought they were brutes. Okay. So, yeah, okay, I'll actually come back and look at the chat since I asked the question. Okay, so they do... Yeah, if that were the case, that they actually... the herbivore is canonically kind of like a wastebasket taxon for just, like, weak herbivorous animals, sure. That tracks, I guess. I think a Sauropod would be fun to fight, though. I mean, things like Ukanlos work, or, like, to go even further up to kind of an unreasonable degree, like, Gogmazios works. It's fun. People like it. Did you pray? Did you eat? Did you dismount? I have not prayed. Did I eat? I ate something. think. I don't remember. I have smiled, though. So, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, or at least 1 out of 3, which is not less good, but it's my problem. You can't stop me. I don't think I want to be quite that wrinkly. Let's make it a bit smoother. Just only have it bunching up in certain areas. There we are. There we go. I think that's an amount of wrinkliness I can be more satisfied with. I think it might be a bit much down in this region now, so I can fix that. This all knobbly thing that might be part of what I'm missing is that this is more knobbly and turkey-like to look more sickly and also get the idea across better. That'll do. I think I like that. Say, just give us some more stretch marks down here. Clean ourselves up in this region. There we are. Spicomelis. That's one that the like really primitive or basal is the more accurate word. Spicomelis. Is that the? Yeah, the really really thorny ankylosaur. Yeah, I keep pretty up to date on paleontology stuff when I can. Thank you, Virus. I mean, I'm all for ankylosaur monsters. That's another thing I'm really surprised we don't really have. Outside of Gravios, I guess, is the closest thing I'd say we have to an ankylosaur. The dude who's playing their song right now, Duramboros, is like somewhat ankylosaur coded. It's got armor plates. It's got big club tail. But yeah, I'm a little surprised that we and stegosaurs. Not at all. There's no stegosaur. How is there not a stegosaur in these games yet? They already look like they should be from Monster Hunter. They're insane. Alright, I think it's finally time to hide the reference. Karatinoff. Karatinoff is Karatinoff is not a stegosaur. It's just not. This is a pangolin. There's no stegosaur here. Maybe it is based on one, but it just isn't a stegosaur, remotely. I think those are kind of ankylosaur-ish, I guess. But yeah, but they're still small monsters. Why can't... I'm really, stunned there isn't a straight-up ankylosaur monster. That's crazy. Because, I mean, we have T-Rex, we have T-Rex, we have T-Rex again, we have T-Rex again, we have T-Rex, but again, T-Rex with a sword, but or I guess Carnotaurus with a sword if you want to be more technical, which I do. We have all that. Why are we so afraid of using the hadrosaurs and the sauropods and the ankylosaurs and the stegosaurs? That's crazy. Look, I know Spinosaurus Brute Wyvern is overplayed. But it's overplayed because it makes sense and it should probably happen at some point. Like, I think I would like a Spinosaurus Brute Wyvern. I think my problem with a lot of the Spinosaurus Brute Wyvern designs is that we just did Spinosaurus, and that's it. And I think we have to try harder than that. Like, yeah, you can argue that the Brute Wyverns that look like T-Rex are too close to T-Rex, but even them, I don't think any of them have a very Tyrannosaur, like, skull shape, for instance. They have the vibe of T-Rex, but they aren't literally T-Rex. Usually, Brute Wyvern's heads are actually, like, kind of small compared to what a T-Rex's head was. So, like, I think there's a lot of room to stretch within the idea of a Spinosaur Wyvern without just being Spinosaurus. And I think that's the pitfall that a lot of people are falling into, is they're not pushing the concept far enough. I mean, you could make a claim that Spinosaurus is unique from Brute Wyverns just by itself. But, I mean, we also have stuff like, oh my god, I literally just said Duramboros, who is, I mean, and Bomboro, who are very, very different from other Brute Wyverns as it is. Or at least in vibe, I suppose. I would say Duramboros is more different from other Brute Wyverns than something like Bomboro is, or Duramboros, I would say, is more unusual. Bomboro, I think you can kind of just say is normal, but eats plants fine. But, like, and especially now that we have crazy, like, weird Brute Wyverns, like Rumpopolo, who I'm really shocked isn't a bird wyvern, but sure, okay, whatever. I'm sure there's lore importance there. Capital L, capital I. I think there's a very good argument for me that, okay, maybe we shouldn't make our Spinosaurus a Brute Wyvern. We should make it maybe we should make it a Bird Wyvern. Maybe it would be smaller. Or hell, make it like a Fanged Wyvern, so that you can use that knuckle walking theory from 2014, I think that was. That'd be kind of cool. Make it a knuckle-walking Fanged Wyvern with a big sail on its back. That'd be fun. Yeah, right. Rumpopolo is kind of an Alvarosaurid. Anything but Spinosaurus. And I think it is that Spinosaurus is such a unique and iconic look. They might expect that they might expect to struggle making it feel different from the actual animal with, like, keeping the notable traits. So yeah, I think there's the games have a lot of consideration about them. You know, it takes a lot to make a video game as expansive as a Monster Hunter game. They have to make a lot of tough decisions with that, and a lot of it, unfortunately, we got to make money. We got to make stuff that's cool in anime that people want to explode with their swords, which aren't necessarily my favorite motivations, but that's how the series makes money. Like, that's got to be part of it. If it were an ecosystem simulator, no one would care. I'd care, but I'm a freak. And I can't be, like, too uppity about them making monsters that are ridiculous and over the top. Because usually they're fun to fight. I think Arkfeld's stupid. I hate Arkfeld. It's really fun to fight. I like fighting Arkfeld. And this is a game, first and foremost, not, like we said, an ecosystem simulator. There are sacrifices that one must make in pursuit of making something that is fun. These are things I accept and will continue to complain about regardless. Excuse me. Minor question about this Iadrum. Do we think that I should, like, let the underbelly, the lighter colored underbelly color come in through this section here and just leave the red to, like, the thicker skin on the top? Or should I, like, here, let's make the borders a little clearer. So, something like that. So this, like, shaded area, have this be underbelly, or do you think it should be more consistent the whole way through, and just make it the same red color that's on the top? Should be a pretty little peak. I mean, it's not just because Rumpuppolo has a beak. Like, the whole vibe, at least to me, feels more bird wyvern. Especially in having very mobile arms, but obviously mobile arms aren't exclusive to bird wyverns. Like, we have Brachydios, whose name I couldn't remember for some reason. And I think there's one other brood with, like, long, useful arms, right? I'm not making that up? But, like, yeah, like, I see what you mean. But especially, again, that we also hadn't had really any small brute wyverns until very recently. It feels kind of strange to have Rumpuppolo be so bird-like and small in, like, the bird wyvern, like, the size range that bird wyverns usually hang out in. I've lost my train of thought, but I think I said most of what I meant to me. Thanks. Thank you, Dragonfly. Underbelly. The underside is, like, pale, I think. Here, actually, let's pull this. Let's open the ref folder again. Oh, yeah, on the Stories model, it's even white, but you can't really see it here. It's all shaded, but it's like a orangey, like off-white, like a kind of like a dark, ugly eggshell color, I guess. On the Generations model, the underbelly is. Kind of forgot I was doing that. I got distracted by other stuff when I was reading the chat talking about Spinosaur wyverns. I mean, I've always wanted to include more original monster designs in the content I produce. I think just, again, because I'm trying to grow my channel right now, I think it seems better to play it safe, play the thing that does seem to be working with with Monster Mender. But, and I'd also maybe like to make this part of my streaming schedule or something, so I can be more active, like always have something for people to see. a Spinosaur monster is, like, for sure has to be a design I've done at some... or, excuse me, I do at some point. I don't think I've ever done it, like, in my sketchbooks or anything. I don't think I've ever done a Spinosaur Wyvern. But I've got to do that. Like, the thing we're talking about with Stegosaurs, or really just the Thyreophorans in general, I will make a Thyreophoran monster at some point. I think it's... In the Discord, this guy, I'm pretty sure it's Beasties Bros. I forget exactly what the name is. I apologize. Hopefully he's not watching to yell at me for forgetting his name. Her name. Their name. I don't know. They have a really cool concept for a Stegosaur Wyvern that I helped out with a little bit. I mean, I didn't do the drawing or anything. I was just part of the discussion while they were talking about developing it. And they've got a pretty cool one that I think it would be a good basis for stuff going forward. I believe they have theirs in a new monster class, the Bastion Wyverns. If I'm thinking of the right people, I'm really bad at keeping track of that kind of thing. And, like, that's also kind of a point with the Brute Wyverns in Wilds, is that Camatrice also, again, it's themed like a bird. That doesn't mean it has to be a bird. And you can see how more of the underlying anatomy in Camatrice in particular is more brutish. But Bird Wyvern already kind of covers a wide array of animals. I mean, it's got completely grounded raptor things, and it's got kind of normal-looking wyverns like Yankaku, and it's got, like, birds as well. Like, yeah, I don't mind them expanding the things that Brute Wyverns can be. It just feels strange when they're the first. And now that we've done that, and they do more bird-like Brute Wyverns, probably won't stick out at all. But as of right now, they're outliers, and they both exist in the same game at the same time with the same quote-unquote issue. Recent Raptorish Brood Wyverns? I mean, I think I see what you mean, because Macau is definitely a lot thicker, more muscular. And the dog wyverns in general are more muscular than the... apparently Speed Wyverns might be the title for the drones going forward, if the title that Velocipray got is accurate in Sunbreak. I don't know. But yeah, like, these guys are pretty beefy. Talioth, I really like. And they are very bird wyvern, which I appreciate them. Wait, Digital Dragonfly, what are you... Which thematic reason are you talking about there? What's wrong, vague boy? Afraid you might say something. I saw that. I think that was the first time I'd ever seen that specifically posted, or like that variation of the meme posted the other day. That was really funny. That got a good guffaw out of me. I like that. I'm going to segment those wrinkles more. There we are. A little happier with that. I'll screw with that. A bit more in a second. Like, Dragonfire, you're saying you pronounce it like Quematrice, or because you've just mostly spelled. I don't understand, like, what the difference is. Oh, why have we rotated? When did I do that? Get rotated, idiot! Ha ha ha! Does that work if I do this way? Is this funnier? Is this a better bit? No. Okay. Get rotated. Stupid Iodrome. This is this is his main weakness. It's not fire, it's not water, it's not thunder. Oh, that's much easier. Wow. That would have been much less stupid than what I was doing. Anyway. Is it Rajang again? Alright, I'm kind of sick of Rajang. I'm going to go to a different playlist I have here. Okay, well, that's not helpful. Let's see. What playlist are we going for? Yeah, okay, that's funny. I might do that. I have a bunch of playlists on my channel, actually. The reason I have YouTube Premium. The reason I actually got YouTube Premium in the first place was so that I could play music for a D&D game I was running. So I'm going to play you some music from one of those playlists, because it starts with the Home Depot song with DIY instruments. Come on. Are we working? There we go. Okay. That's a little quiet, but that's okay. It's not my content. Ooh, what monsters and wilds do I want to get variations like accessories? I'm interested in one for Balahara, but I think that's mostly just because I really like Balahara. Like, cool, maybe we have like an ice drill one or something. Would that fight really even work in how restrictive the zones are? I don't know, whatever. But I think Balahara could be cool. I also want one for Raydao for the same reason, mostly just because it's cool, not because I want anything specific. I did actually have an idea for a Raydao subspecies a long time ago, but I turned that into a different monster, which is another reason I'd like to do more original stuff on stream, is because I'd like to have a chance to work on the original monsters. Those of you who are in the Discord may or may not remember my usurper monster concept. The origin of that was actually that I was going to be making a subspecies for Raydao that, rather than using its horns as a railgun, is going to be a heat sink. So it was going to attack things by building up a lot of heat in its body and then venting all that at once. Vent Among Us? It's 2026. By venting all that heat, like dumping all that heat at once into, I guess, something a bit like Kulve Taroth's heat ray thing. I really appreciate that is like depicted as just heat. It's not even like a fire attack. It's just concentrated heat coming out of her. I think that's pretty neat. That was kind of what I was thinking for a Raydao subspecies, but that got turned into a monster that I've been working on called Kuzintaros, which is just the chemical formula for brass, and then the Latin word for bull. I'll corrupt it a little bit to make it sound better as a name. So its name is just Brass Bull. And if you know what a brass bull is, it's a statue of a bull made of brass that theoretically was supposed to be a torture instrument. You put somebody in it and you light a fire under it and they like cook inside the bull. And supposedly their screams would be changed by the internal acoustics of the bull so that it sounded like a bull roaring, whatever. So I was having a steam-based bull flying wyvern that is going to take over the Scarlet Forest. This was all sort of because I was hoping I could do more content before the Wilds DLC was announced and stuff. That was the original conception also for the Usurpers, that it was going to be a DLC concept. but I don't think that it's necessarily tied to being an update in and of themselves, so I think I'll probably still use those ideas once Ascendance is out and be like, yeah, this is like, I don't know, a weird second Master Rank DLC that we're doing or something. It doesn't really matter. It's just a monster concept. I think I haven't thought about anything for the Skybound area yet. But that'll be a fun one to tackle. I'm very interested in seeing what I can do with the Skybound area. And I've been struggling with a Usurper concept for the Ruins of Wyveria for ages. That would also be fun to do on stream. I can get people's opinions on it, because I have lots of wacky ideas. Yeah, lots of plans. Lots of plans. But I guess I could talk about hypothetical future stuff forever. It's a matter of getting things done to get to that point. You know what? And maybe after Iodrome, or I think I kind of want to say after first gen, because I don't want to stop midway through the generation again, if I can help it. But maybe when I get to some milestone, possibly that would be another good time to do it. Is I would like to experiment with a full-length video on an original monster design. Probably not one of my Usurpers. I'd probably do something more marketable, I guess, that people are more familiar with. So I'd just be like, oh, designing a new Brute Wyvern. Maybe I'll do the Spinosaurus first or something like that, because everybody seems to want one. Everybody's making a Brute Spinosaur. I forgot we were originally talking about subspecies for wild monsters. I kind of forgot about went on like 7 tangents. Like saying the letter Q. Yeah. Q. Oh, Q. You're saying Q-matrice. No, that's stupid and wrong. I'm going to kill you. Your opinion is different than mine. So I have no choice other than to glass your house. Sorry, I'm getting on more tangents. Did Dragon Ball and I were talking about K-matrice earlier. I say K-matrice. It looks like it's supposed to be K-matrice, but Jay-Woo sure doesn't look like Jay-Woo, so I don't know. Trice and Price. Q-matrice. I don't like that. I think I'm going to send you to jail for that. Oh, wait, why would Hairball be missing in a flying session? Yeah, actually, I do like the idea of like going Carnosaur with a sail. That's kind of fun for them. Big Dynamic Ball of Heart would be cool. Forbidden Four getting Guardians would be cool. How? Oh wait, Forbidden Four, not Fated Four. But yeah, Forbidden Four. Is that the Wild's Apexes? I assume. Think of the Jetbird. The Jetbird looks so cool. I hope that fighting that thing is fun, because I can see. I feel like there's a very real world in which that thing sucks to fight, but the look of it, the concept, I'm so in for it. We don't have a name for it yet. It's this like Jetbird thing. Oh, I'm so excited for Jetbird. Actually, it looks like so sick. Subspecies to the area, yeah. Like, there's lots of area subspecies that could work. Sensor Hairball would be cool. And the second DLC would be unheard. I mean, a second DLC, we're just getting into, like, frontier territory, which is dangerous. Because then we gotta keep upping the scales forever. Which is a very good reason why we don't usually get more than one, like, Master Rank update, is because they have to keep escalating. And I think that's how things like Lunastra ended up being just so obnoxious in World, is because they need to keep up in the power, and so it can't be on a similar power level to Teostra, because we've been by the time Lunastra is released, we've been obliterating Teostras for months, and they actually did seem to have come up with a pretty good system to get around that in Wilds. With the different levels of Tempered. I actually really do appreciate that. I hope that's what we go with going forward, in general, because that makes it so you are able to add Mizutsune, who's really not that much worse than, say, Rathalos, in its 5-star form, it's obviously a little stronger. Especially that, like, flip attack. But in general, like, a regular Mizutsune is not, it's really not bad. It's 9 stars that are mean. So I hope that can continue going forward. Maybe we can see something like that happen where, okay, we do the story event and it's like whatever's strong by the time you've unlocked it, but we have stronger versions available for you. I think that's really nice. Rocket Man for the time being, yeah. Scroll up for the thematic stuff. Okay, wait. Oh, the bird thing you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Team Skull music is playing in the background right now. That is correct thing, Lucas. Well heard. Oh, a lot of talking. I gotta keep up. Yeah, Mizutsune got the Soulseer mode as the title update thing. Luna with wind resistance, yeah. Like, it's better, but it's just annoying. And like, especially if you just compare the physical damage that Lunastra does compared to Teostra in World, it's night and day. She does, like, double the physical damage. It's crazy! I do disagree with the Soulseer moveset feeling forced. I get what you mean, for sure. I sympathize with that sentiment, but I guess it doesn't bug me personally. There's a lot of Pokemon on this one. This is Cyrus, I think? Yeah. Okay, that I do agree with. I am so mad about all the fire Mizus. I get it. Foxfire. Enough. I do kind of like the idea of only the tempered Mizu having the Soulseer mode. I think that would actually be thematically pretty cool. Although, the Garuga in... Well, I guess, because, yeah, there's no tempered Garuga in World. They just replaced it with the variant. They could have done that for Mizutsune, I suppose. But, I don't know, I actually kind of disagreed with that choice in World anyway. I think there should be a distinction between tempered and... What the hell is the name of it in World? They're all called the same thing. Scarred? Is it Scarred Young Garuga? That's easily the worst name as, for the Garuga variants as well. Anyway, but like, I like it being tempered only. That's fun. That's cool in what it is. But I wish it was tempered Garuga, and then this was a layer on top of that. Deadeye's different. I like Deadeye. Deadeye is a really good name. Maimed Young Garuga, I feel like they wouldn't use as a variant name, but I like just Maimed Young Garuga. That's pretty cool. Because, like, Deadeye is kind of like a pun. It's got a dead eye, because it's gone, but also a Deadeye is like somebody who's a really, really good shot. Like a sniper, basically. And is Deadeye Young Garuga sniping things? I don't know, maybe. But it's kind of like I don't know, a term for someone who's badass with a weapon. I think that kind of works for Deadeye. Unless we're talking about just, like, the actual monster itself, like, fighting it. I don't love Deadeye. Frankly, it could be worse. Wait, which one's which? Deadeye's the, Deviant, right? Deadeye? Yeah. And then it's... Is one-eyed one of them as well? Or is it one-eared? It's one-eared Garuga, okay. Which is a weird choice, because it doesn't have one ear. It has two. They're both broken. I guess they're, like, cut in half, so it adds up to one ear? I don't know. But yeah, like, the online variant Garuga got is one-eared Garuga. Did I scarred? Yeah, okay. It is all of them. Ooh, it's like Cyclopean Garuga would be kind of sick. One-eared is effectively scarred. Like, yeah, they've got some differences, but yeah, it's kind of the same deal. Honestly, like, I don't care that much about returning monsters usually, unless I just, like, happen to particularly like them. So, like, yeah, I would be really excited about Namiel, or who was I just gonna say? It has completely fled my mind. It's gone now. Alright, well, I guess Namiel. Oh, Nadrella, my favorite monster. Like, I'd be excited about those, but in general, I'm never like, oh my god, it's Lagarcus! I'm like, oh hey, Lagarcus, he deserved to be back. That's nice. That's good for him. That's about as strongly as I feel about a returning monster, usually. Unless it is one that's really bad, and they're gonna fix it up. You know what? Actually, no. I take back everything I said. I am excited for a returning monster. I want Cephadrome. I want it to be in the dunes, so there's a reason to be there, ever. The only thing that ever fights you out there is Raydal, and I guess Balahara a little bit, but it's just barely into the dunes. It's, like, not even there. And Raydal has, like, 1 or 2 zones I think he could fight in the dunes with, so that's better. But the dunes are so empty, and nobody fights in them in Wilds. It's so bizarre to me. Give me Cephadrome. What the hell music is playing? This is apparently from Dose. Risking my dignity. Medium monster battle. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway. The dunes are so empty. Put the fish in them. Gimme the fish! You know what? Actually, Plesioth in the Dunes would be kind of funny with my Usurper concept I was talking about a while ago. Because the part of the thing with the Usurpers was that they were going to come with a new weather condition. Hello? What are we doing? Don't do that, Clip Studio. That scared me. But they were going to come with unique weather conditions. Because that was part of the concept, is that they usurp the territory once conditions are particularly favorable for them. And then they just dip and to avoid dealing with the apex most of the time. And the one for the dunes was actually going to be, I was going to call it the Mizzle Wind. It was just going to be like rain. That was going to be it. It's rain in the desert. The desert like floods. The dunes flood, and in the spaces between them there would be like puddles and stuff that the apex, the usurper would be using to their advantage. But Plesioth showing, because Plesioth does canonically show up in deserts, in the water in deserts, but in deserts, If we just put some water in the desert, here comes Blitzioth. That'd be pretty funny. Especially given how, like, shallow those puddles would be. And there's just one, like, sitting underneath it or something just explodes out at you. But, like, realistically, I actually genuinely think Cephadrome fits super well in Wilds, and I really want it back. Because I want it to be fun. I like Cephadrome's design. It's cool, but it sucks. I don't, like, is Kezu implied for Ascendance? I haven't seen anybody, and, like, any source of that. I have seen, like, a lot of people talking about Kezu. I don't know what implication we're talking about, though. But, like, I like Kezu. I think he's cool. I'm happy to see him again. Like I said in the video, like, I think he's good. I prefer Giganox, but I'm not like, Giganox is so much better. We should completely replace Kezu. It's like, well, no. I don't think that's fair. I think Giganox is cooler, but Kezu serves a purpose, and he's iconic. Like, it makes sense for him to keep showing up. He's probably easier to handle, just on the technical aspects of creating a Monster Hunter game than Giganox is. Giganox is a lot more malleable than Kezu is. Like, Kezu's really only got the one, maybe arguably the two things, like the long neck, which clearly they've figured out a way to mostly fit onto the normal flying wyvern rig anyway, and the tail, like, stretches a little bit and has the suction cup, and that's not really that difficult to deal with. But Giganox has both a stretchy head and tail, and I know that, like, I don't know how much more work it makes it, but I think it does make it more work. Like, Kezu is, I think, a more practical choice for when they're developing these games. Gemma has a Kezu Plus. Okay. Cephadrome in the same game as Balhara? I kind of do, actually. Cephadrome in the same game as Balhara, I think, would be cool, because they could probably have an actual... I think I'm a little mixed on the turf war system as a whole, but they could have a turf war, they could have a rivalry. I think that'd be fun. And they fight in what I would, at least I would hope, is a very different way when they fix Cephadrome to make him not awful. But yeah, I like Kezu. I'd be cool seeing it again. Shrouded Nucilla, I think, is also a very probable thing. Like, honestly, if anything, I would say that Kezu is almost more implied by the existence of Nucilla and the possibility for a subspecies that wouldn't require too much effort to implement in Shrouded. We can use Kezu for that, yeah. Like, yeah, Kezu in Wild Design style, I think, would look really good. Good concept for Python Wyvern, Goblin Shark, yeah. Oh, yeah, I had, like, Goblin Shark in the mood board for my Kezu designs, but it never really made it to the final. I think it's very probable that I do use something like it for Giganox, but we'll see. I haven't thought about Giganox too hard yet. Alright, I think I'm going to clean up this guy's legs and call the stream pretty shortly after that. Because I probably should eat something before I spend 6 hours at rehearsal. But yeah, I'm going to finish this out first. Yeah, like, but, like, the lava caverns, it appeared in, like, you know, this wet area, wet and warm. It's, like, Kezu don't seem to have a problem with warm areas, I don't think, anyway. Or at least not warm external areas. It seems like maybe they do want their caves to be cold, but hard to tell exactly. Especially because Rise was kind of so nonchalant with just sticking its monsters everywhere. I'd be a Rugu theme. It's been a while since I've heard that one. Excuse me again. Could get more gassy when I'm kind of running on empty. Anyway. with some knobbling here. Knobbly skin in here. I think that'll add. Yeah, that adds a lot. I'm pleased with that. Get that warty texture in there from the turkey inspiration. That looks better, I think. Just that little bit of... Yeah, that helps a lot. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe we can move around upstairs. Hello.
Well, hi.
I'm streaming currently.
What does that mean?
People are live.
Oh, people are watching me?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a camera, thank you. Oh, it's me da. Love me da. Cool guy. Get that. There we go. I'm happy with that. Make this a little more bunched up here. Just came in from doing yard work outside, my dad did. How hot is this today? I guess I haven't been out since the sun's been up. I was only really out and about when the sun was just rising. I'm gonna make this first finger fatter on the grounds that I feel like it, and it would be marginally more interesting than if they were the same size. And that's about the end of my rationale. Which one is this? Is this Safi or something? Oh, no, that's Zora. Okay. Zora that's playing right now. How do I feel about Zora, chat? I really, really enjoy Zora. Even if it is like a dumb siege fight. There's something about the siege fights that I have no issue doing over and over again. I like them. Yeah, like, I've never enjoyed, or excuse me, I've never not enjoyed the siege fights. The only time I ever really got tired of Zora was just when I was doing it over and over and over again for grinding, honestly, because I used its hammer through a lot of high rank in my first playthrough. How many hours, Milo? Yeah, so it's about like a 3-ish hour practice usually. It's about 45 minutes there and back, and we also almost always go long. Ambushed by my father, yeah. Yeah, anyways, Kevin. Yeah, Zora's relaxing. You know what? I think that's a good way to put it. I found fighting Zora very therapeutic. I have a goal. I have several objectives, and I do those, and I chill out. I think that's a very good way of putting it. And, like, a monster being hard, I'm an only child and spoiled at that. I'm used to getting my way. I don't really care if a monster is hard or not. Like, that doesn't really factor into my enjoyment of them a lot of the time. I find it's, for me, it's the satisfaction of, like, the play between you and the monster. And that's why, like, Rei Dao is one of my favorite monsters to fight, period. Just because I really enjoy the pace of the back and forth that Hammer, at least in particular, gets with him. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with simple monsters like that. I don't mind at all that Rei Dao is easy as buns. And being difficult doesn't, like, preclude me from liking it either, although it does make me mad and not want to play against it anymore. Like, Jan Garuga, I've talked many times before, and I will talk many times again, on how much I hated, despised with all my being, Gen 4 Garuga. I hated that thing with everything my shriveled little heart could muster. Ugh. And, like, it was objectively a skill issue. But even, like, going back and playing much better than I did when I was a child, I don't remember how old I would have been. Like, it's better, but I don't enjoy fighting 4th Gen Garuga. I just think it's obnoxious. Especially, like, the thing that always gets me are zero-frame tail whips that poison you. That sucks. And zero-frame charges that do a lot of damage. That sucks. Like, and I know for a lot of people the challenge is the point, and I will never take that away from them. I will just be mad in my skill issue corner. I will accept. I think I have accepted this a long time ago. I am not, like, good at Monster Hunter. I think I'm better than, like, the average player, like most or people new to the series. I imagine, like, a lot of streamers who might play the game, but I'm not, like, good. I never beat Fatalis, and Fatalis is one that was difficult, and I was like, okay, I can't do this. But it wasn't because I was mad. It's like, I lack the skill to do this, and I'm not improving no matter how many times I throw my head against the wall, so I'm just gonna, like, get better and come back to this later. And I never did. But one of my other plans that I've had for a long time is that I'd like to do, like, because Monster Hunter World is still my favorite video game I've ever played. I adore Monster Hunter World. It just, like, impacted me very strongly emotionally. And so I plan to revisit it at some point. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to stream a full playthrough of, like, 100% of the game. And I mean really 100%ing it. Like, doing all of the pictures and stuff that I never took of the cast, like the Linian researcher thing, the thing that he asks you to do. I never engaged with any of that. I need to do all of that, get all the endemic life, hunt all the monsters. Like, it's not necessarily an achievement thing. I'm not really worried about the achievements, but it would be a playthrough where I'm trying to do everything the game has to offer, and, like, see it all, experience it all, and put that into a comprehensive review of the game. It's like, how does it hold up? How did it impact me when it came out? Etc. Etc. Like, how have things changed for me? I love to do a big long video essay like that, but that's gonna be way down the line. Weapon augments. I'd craft every weapon. That would be part of it, so I can get experience fighting every single monster. And probably play with every single weapon, like all of that. That would be also part of it. So there's some chat I gotta catch up with now. Let's see, talking about Garuga. Yeah, endgame monster would be hard, but so long as, like, and I don't even mind if the endgame is easy. That doesn't bug me. Like, it's never been about the challenge for me. I do appreciate the challenge to some extent. Like, I will, like, one thing I have on my GU save that I still haven't accomplished is, like, the advanced quests. I refuse to do the advanced quests with high rank armor, because you shouldn't theoretically have high rank armor by the time you unlock them. So I'm trying to beat them with low rank armor even if they are high rank specimens, that kind of thing. Grugo's yeah, Grugo's just like tough to make good. I haven't even messed with any of the updates in Wilds past Arc-Tempered New Udra, who I handled pretty alright. I think it did triple cart me the first time I fought it. I might have done it a couple times because I remember I beat it with someone else. I don't remember if that was because I was getting my... No, I did beat it once solo, and then I was trying to grind it for something. That's what I did with people. And yeah, that like took, I think, 2 tries. And that seems fair. I wasn't too mad at that. Fatalis is really, really good. Like, Fatalis is definitely one... Like, I get mad in these games a lot. Just because I'm a very irritable person. That's how it is. But Fatalis's fight is so immaculately constructed where I can't be mad. It's like, no. He got me. That was fair. I got dunked on. It's what it is. Well, right. There's only 3 other monsters, but like I didn't engage with any other ATs. I haven't even seen Gogmazios. I didn't do Gogmazios. I have not even seen it in the game, and I have like avoided looking at it in every possible way I can. I don't know what Gogmazios does. All I know is that he has a gun on him now. That's the full extent of it. I know nothing about Wild's Gogmazios. And that's on purpose, because like I'm trying to actually experience it for myself the first time. I just keep not doing it because I'm rusty. I'm like, I probably shouldn't fight Gogmazios. I'm kind of rusty. And then I play for a little bit, and then I hop off, and then I don't play again for a while, and I just keep going over and over again. You know what? I think I want to stream more stuff in general, just to build more of a presence. So maybe the next time I'm playing Wilds casually, I'll just hop on and stream it. Or yeah, I could do it with the community as well. I do have a thing where I do want to be able to beat every monster solo first. Once I've proven that I can do that, then I'm willing to multiplayer it. I don't know how bad Gogmazios is solo. I'll find out. But once I do that, then I would totally be open to like grinding it with people. And that would be another actually good point for grinding stuff like the weapon augments and whatever in World, and getting all the things upgraded. Would probably be a lot easier if I just made that like a community thing. Like, yeah, come hang out with me and we'll go fight stuff. That'd be fun. You can't solo Gog. They don't let you. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, like I haven't engaged with that. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts about it when I've actually, I still have the notification that like Werner, I think it is, Werner has found something underneath a Zeus. We should go talk to him. And I have refused to engage with that because I want to go in blind and I haven't had time. Yeah, we'll get to it sometime. Anyway, I'm thinking I'm actually just about done with the work I was planning to do today. I think I'm pretty happy with this design for Iodrome. And next time I work on it, I'll get the pose down and start drawing it in the actual pose I'm going to put it in for the video. So I guess I'll do more of that later. I'll finish up talking with you guys and I'll hop off. It's very ugly. Yeah, ugly boy. Nasty creature. See this tooth in there. I think I'm actually... His jaw is still bugging me a little bit. Because I think it should be about there. Is the rim. That's a little better. And then... Okay, not that. Here, maybe if I... No. Let's just fiddle with that jaw a little bit before I close out. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Hit its two-fingered hands. I was talking to Geezer about the hands. And he brought up an interesting point that the drones in general have a trend of like becoming less physically armed and more like physically decrepit, I guess, as they get stronger in power because they rely more on their statuses. And Iodrum is the culmination of that. It's got like these weak, useless looking arms because it relies so heavily on its poison. And I thought that was actually kind of an interesting idea. I wanted to incorporate that theme into the like the skin looks like it's sloughing off kind of idea as well. So that it looks kind of wretched, but still has some like logic behind its toughness. I like the greats, the dog wyverns in general. I was just talking last night about how I still really want a hob boggy, like a hobgoblin boggy. I would love that so much. A long time ago in my server, we were talking about it having 3 levels, kind of like the Jagia probably, and Great Jaggy thing, where you have like if you work on D&D logic, you have the goblins, which are the boggy, then you have the hobgoblin boggy in the middle. They're like, I don't know, the females probably, and then the great boggy is your bugbear, and is the big like hairy one or something. Iodrome and Gypsyros both are like, they're so incredibly toxic and kill deathery and will destroy you instantly if you touch them. And yeah, they're like in 2-star, which I think is just kind of remnants of the original conception of the series being a fully fantasy, and like a lot more of that DNA being there than say like 2, because I think 2 starts to tone a lot of that stuff down, or at least I assume it does. Because of the way people talk about 2 being very, very grounded and stuff. Freedom, as it were. But, yeah, I don't know. Right, like, yeah, like, I don't think... Poison monsters in general, I think, struggle to reflect their lore in game. Just because, like, what are you going to do? You're going to add 50 different poison statuses? No. So yeah, like it's a little lame, and I'm hoping that maybe with like a move update as well, or like a move set update anyway, Iodrum could have a lot more to it. Maybe it doesn't reflect its lore super well. I don't know, because this lore is also that like if it brushes up against you, it should also poison you, which would suck and be awful. So. There's some balancing that's got to go on there between what the monster is and how it acts in the game and all that. Yeah. I think I'm about ready to call it here. So I'll thank everybody for showing up. It's almost a 3-hour stream. Sheesh. So yeah, I appreciate y'all coming out. I appreciate the support that you guys gave me both here and now on the Kezi video, and also when that video is coming out. I'm pretty proud of it. I have a lot of things that I'd like to keep doing better, and hopefully I can keep, getting more efficient and making those videos better and better as I do it. Regular stream times? I don't know. This is my first one that I've done in a long time. I'm thinking that I might be streaming around this time during the week, semi-regularly. I'd like to work on the, I think it'll help if I have a habit of streaming, that I think it'll keep me more accountable in getting this work done more efficiently, because I do sometimes lose a day to getting distracted and not even notice, and it's not good for me or my productivity. So that's I'd like to come up with more of a schedule, but right now I don't have one. I'll just be trying to stream whenever I do work at a reasonable time. Yes, I will eat. Thank you very much. Just barely made the leaderboard. Mwah, love you all. Thank you very much for coming. Bye-bye. What song is this? Oh, this is from Dragon's Dogma. That's why I don't recognize it. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with the streams exactly. Maybe I won't make them members only. I'd like to stream more stuff besides that, so that maybe only Monster Mender is members only. I don't know. Let's figure it out. Yeah. Unfortunate that you came in right at the very end, Gabrex. I am about to sign off. But you can watch the VOD. I'm sure it'll be really entertaining watching me talk to people you can't see and then work in silence. All right. Yes. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.